And we are now joined by Matt DiBenedetto, driver of the number 21 Menards Dutch Boy Ford for the Wood Brothers team. And Matt, going into Daytona International Speedway this weekend, how excited are you to get to the World Center of Racing for this regular season finale?
Yeah, I don't know if it's excited or anxious or what the emotion is.
Yeah.
It's definitely different going to Daytona with so much on the line than if we were going to a regular short track or whatever you want to call it.
Good deal. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. We're going to start with Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead with the question, Jordan.
Matt, curious, has there been discussion within the Penske organization of kind of putting their effort behind you? Because your three teammates all have wins. They're in the playoffs, and Penske's really good at forming strategies and working together in these races.
Oh, Matt, you're on mute.
There we go. Nothing definite yet. And the thing about Daytona is you can only quite plan so much, but I think what the things that we as a team could count on is obviously that we have excellent teammates and Brad, Joey, and Ryan, and a lot of great Fords out there. I think the things we can count on is when the situations present themselves, I know that they will work with us well. We've always worked with each other very well, and I think that they will be sure to not put us in a bad situation. It may be hard to plan, like, okay, you can come up with all these great plans and be like, we're going to work together and we're going to line up and do this and that. But there's also, a lot of other race cars out on the track that'll interfere with those plans. But what you can try and do is to not, put each other in bad positions. And maybe that's, more something that you can plan on and work for. So it's very tough to plan things at Daytona, but I know we'll work together very well, and they'll, they've said they'll work with us.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead with the question, Claire.
Thank you. Matt, it's so crazy to have a cutoff race at Daytona. Do you want lots of information about where you are in points throughout the race? It would be so insane. How much info do you want?
Yeah. I mean, that's really going to be our whole race, and our intention is going to be focused on those guys that were racing for the playoff spot, and also knowing that there could be a surprise winner in there too. Somebody could jump in the playoffs as well. That's outside of it right now. Daytona, is known for situations like that. So there's going to be a lot of variables and things, but that will be a big part of the focus is, maybe coming to the end of stages where those guys are. And then obviously toward the end of the race, it's probably going to be a game of survival when it comes down to the very end, especially as desperate as a lot of people will be. But yeah, we will be paying pretty close attention to, what those guys are doing, where they're at, if they get into any trouble or anything like that. But, it changes lap by lap at Daytona. So we'll probably do that, what you asked, within reason.
Won't that be tough when you're racing and trying to focus on just keeping your wits about you at Daytona? It's such a crazy race, right? And then you said you didn't know your emotion. Does it make you a little bit nervous, or does it make you really excited? And then won't that be really hard to kind of figure out where you're at while you're also trying to pay attention to the race at a race like that?
Yeah, I mean, Daytona and super speedway racing in general is already hard enough as it is. So, my big thing is to make sure that we don't overcomplicate it. And I think our team's pretty good about that. I know my spotter, Doug, and everybody's very good about that we understand that there's only so much you can plan for. So I think we're, making sure we focus on some of the things we can control, pay attention real well through the race. But we're not going to overdo it and over plan. We're still going to try and execute it just like any other race for the most part, because we can plan all day long, and then, you drop the green flag and it'll all go right out the window because there's so many other cars out there and trying to, get up front and do their things, especially when you get to the end of the race. All hell will just break loose, most likely. So we don't want to overthink and overplan it.
Good luck. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
Our next question is going to come from Mike Solarte. Go ahead with your question, Mike.
Thanks very much. Matt, you mentioned at the start you kind of don't know where your emotions are. Because is it and so I guess I'm going to ask to try to help you sort it out. Is it because of your position, near the cutoff? Is it because you're being pursued by maybe a 7-time champ, another Chevrolet that is trying to hold his spot, and one guy trying to get in? Is it the Daytona uneasiness factor? There's so many things that go into this last race for every driver, but for a guy that is in your position, it just seems like, man, you've got a pack of dogs chasing you as you're trying to hang on to that one spot to get yourself locked in.
Yeah, I would say yes to all those things that you said. That kind of sums it up pretty good, actually, because there's just so much going on. It's a very chaotic week with the cutoff race being at Daytona. As far as where my emotions are at, I haven't been able to answer it real well, because it's like, man, am I excited that we're in a shot, or have a shot to make the playoffs? For sure. Am I frustrated that we had a much bigger cushion and then we had a bad couple of Dover races and lost a whole bunch of points? Am I a little uneasy knowing that the cutoff race is Daytona and not like a short track or some more straightforward race? So pretty much yes to all those answers. It's but like I was saying earlier, all I can do is just luckily I think my experience will pay off in the fact of I don't really get spun out. I've been through extremely stressful situations in my life. That's what my career has been fully comprised of. So nothing really phases me a whole lot at this point in my career. So all I can do is just not really stress. I let my wife do all the stressing for me. She's been a basket case of emotion this week. So I pretty much hold it together and just know whatever's meant to happen will happen. And all we can do is do the best we can.
And following up on that, you mentioned that you've seen a lot of adversity throughout your career. So it would lend me to think that you got experience in finding for lack of a better word, happy place. How do you find your happy place going into a hornet's nest like Daytona, where, as you've already alluded to, there are so many variables every lap and everything changes as you guys are going in the pack?
I think, I think just my path and my journey to get here has been so kind of out of the ordinary and so tough, where I've been fight and claw, and it's just taught me that all I can do is worry about what I can control, because there are always going to be things that are out of my control that I really just can't sit and worry about too much. And my path to get here has taught me that, because I've pushed and pushed and pushed as hard as humanly possible to get to where I am, and dedicated my entire life to it. But even aside from all the hard work, a million different things out of my control had to happen for me to still be here. And this playoff situation is another one of those instances that my whole career has been packed full of. There's going to be things that are out of mine and our control, because it's Daytona. It's kind of a crazy race. You can't be in control of what everybody does in the field. That can affect you. So as my dad put it this week, he was like, do the best you can, and the rest of it's going to be in God's hands. So just don't sit and worry too much about it all week.
Thanks, Matt. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead with the question, Dustin.
Thank you, Matt. Just what does it mean to have the opportunity to be make the playoffs? Is this something that even for all the things that you've done in this journey, do you view this as a certain amount of validation that you want or need at this point in your career?
I think so. I think, again, because of my path to get here, I appreciate all the little things a whole lot more. And this is a big thing, if and hopefully we make the playoffs, I know my wife would be just like absolutely in tears and crying, and it would be a very special moment for us. That just kind of is a small glimpse into the appreciation that we would have, as a family, for just making the playoffs, because the path to get here has really been consisted of a lot of fighting and clawing and the little things that make you appreciative. So yeah, it's a big deal, but not only, but also that was the goal going into the season, is with a good team here that we knew we could make it in the playoffs. So would be excited to get in and make it, but also knowing that if we make them, we would really be able to perform well in the playoffs, especially looking at the tracks that are ahead, and we've been getting better as a team. Just forget about Dover, but aside from that, we've been really getting better and faster as a team. So we'd be able to not only just make them and be there. I feel like we fully deserve to be there and can compete in the playoffs.
How hard is it to not look ahead? I mean, obviously, I know this is a big week, but as you said, the payoff is big and the potential is big. I mean, look, if you get in, hey, in 10 weeks, you could be the next champion of the Cup Series. How do you manage that with all that you've been in, that, in 10 weeks, your life certainly could change in dramatic ways that you've never seen?
Yeah, I think I'm a one step at a time kind of guy. So honestly, I've been so focused solely on making the playoffs that I forgot Darlington. It was even the race next week after Daytona until I saw a commercial for it. So if that shows you how one track minded I've been on, getting to Daytona, making the playoffs. So I'm just kind of a one step at a time kind of guy. But to your point though, that this stuff is life changing, for me if we make the playoffs, because not only knowing that we could just make them and be there, knowing that we have the speed and the team to really go and compete and hopefully make it through rounds and make a big splash in the playoffs, and you're in the fight for a championship. All that is a huge deal and a life changer for me, and a really big deal for this whole team. So there's a lot on the line, and it's going to work out however it's supposed to work out, I guess. But I really, really hope that we make it in this thing, because it's going to mean a lot to all of us.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Alex Andreev. Go ahead with your question, Alex.
Hey, Matt. Thank you for your time this morning. I have two questions. The first one is sort of just, you mentioned what you went through last year. And so I'm sort of wondering how right now and this week is compared to what you were feeling and experiencing. Like, do you feel like your emotions are sort of in that same spot of nerves and like being unsure of where you are? Or, are you more relaxed, I guess, at this moment? How does that sort of compare?
Luckily, I don't think anything quite matches the emotion that I was going through around this time last year. So, when I was like just unsure if I had a job or anything, that was next level. So this situation is a little bit different, but stuff like that, though, the example you just gave, my situation last year, all that is what's made me a lot mentally tougher. To come up on instances like this where there's a lot of pressure, a lot on the line, going into Daytona, which is crazy, and trying to make the playoffs, and your whole season basically rides on right now. All that would be, a lot of normal people would probably be freaking out and on edge, kind of like my wife is. That would be normal. She's having a normal reaction. She's kind of a basket case every day and having heart failure, and just can't wait until Saturday night gets here just to, and praying every day that we make the playoffs. Those are normal human reactions to this type of stressful situation. And I think I've just been groomed and been through so much stress and crazy situations to fight to get here, that being in this really tough situation has made me extremely mentally tough and prepared for something like this, to where I'm able to stay very focused.
Mm-hmm. And then, this is, I guess, kind of zooming out, but, last night we saw a bunch of other sports leagues sort of postpone, delay games in light of, racial injustice around the world. And, I know that like NASCAR, you guys are probably, you're at a moment where you're kind of looking to fight against each other in these last moments coming up to playoffs. But I'm wondering, in the past, you guys have sort of united as a collective front of drivers. Was there any discussion about doing something this weekend or addressing that as a group?
No, honestly, I've just been so focused on competition stuff, I've been pretty well removed from anything else. But I'm just proud and glad that I was raised very well by a great family. And I love and respect all people, no matter color, race, anything like that. So just a crazy year we're living in.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Our next question will come from Terry Sabiston. Go ahead with your question, Terry.
Yeah, Matt, the iconic Wood Brothers coming back to Daytona, and do you feel a little bit of that, the Wood Brothers, the right place, the right time? I mean, a few years ago, they didn't even have a charter, and here they are finally, having a shot maybe at the championship. And you, I mean, a few years ago, I remember calling the race at Daytona when you were an ARCA driver, and that fun transition from what the Wood Brothers and both you have gone through to be coming back to Daytona and have a shot at a championship. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's crazy. The timing of everything is unreal, and that's kind of the stuff I was talking about earlier, of so many things happening out of my control. The timing of all these things, like going to BK Racing, then the 32, and then the 95. Casey Kane had to step out of that ride and retire for me to have that shot, and then Paul Menard had to step out and retire for me to get the 21. I mean, all the timing, everything's worked out perfect, and to drive the 21 car is unreal. And yeah, it's a big deal for us to be for the team, for the 21 team, for the Wood Brothers, for us to be fighting to make playoffs would be an amazing accomplishment for for us and for the team, most importantly. So yeah, it's so cool to be having this opportunity. But I think 2020 has been a crazy year, a lot of variables thrown in that we didn't expect. But I think us as a team are just getting started. I really feel like we have a lot of room for improvement still. I feel like we're just barely getting on our feet, to be honest with you. So I think, in years to come, we have way, way more to continue to gain. We're just barely getting going. And 2020 obviously threw a lot at us when we're a new team, new group, trying to work together. I was my first year with the team and everything. So I feel like there's a long ways to go and a lot of great things to come with us together.
Thanks. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our final question is going to come from Cole Cusimano. Go ahead with your question, Cole.
Hey, Matt. You find yourself in a tricky spot starting 15th Saturday. When the green flag drops, are you looking to charge to the front as quickly as possible, or will you maybe play it safe and drop back until you can get in position to strike? That kind of goes back to one of those I was talking about earlier of you can only plan so much. So I've learned over the years, I don't know if I've learned the right things, because I've crashed at many speedway races just like everyone else too. But I just play the races a lot by feel and play it by ear. So so we dropped the green, and I'll be kind of what I call patiently aggressive, my normal style. So play it by ear. Don't put ourselves in any stupid positions or cause any crashes or anything. And especially it's early in the race, so we'll. I would like to work our way up there in a smart fashion. I always try to make sure I'm a guy at the speedways that people feel comfortable and confident being around. Making smart decisions, smart moves, and work our way up there in a good manner. We know the Fords are fast. The 21 car is really fast. We got the Roush Yates power under the hood. I mean, we have all the great things to know that we have a race car to work our way up there, but there's a lot of variables, and you have to kind of play it by ear and by feel to answer your question. Thank you, sir. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and good luck this weekend at the World Center of Racing.
All righty. I appreciate it, guys. Take it easy. If you
Take care now.
have any questions for Brian, he's ready too.
He's worn out from National Dog Day yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Big day, as you can see.
That's right. Yeah. Good deal. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See ya.